Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Cha-Cha Real Smooth is a new movie out now on Apple TV+. It is an Apple TV+ exclusive film that gained a lot of attention during, what is that film festival called? Sundance. The Sundance Film Festival. That's where I heard of it when people had seen it during that film festival. One of the biggest film festivals. One of the film festivals that really launches independent films. And this movie is written, directed, and starring Cooper Raiff, who I think is going to be an amazing director/writer to look at as his career goes on, and actor as well, because this movie was amazing. From the performances, the directing, the writing, every aspect of this movie was great. Had real, authentic characters, grounded, dealing with the complexities of life and love. This is a movie that really grabbed a hold of my heartstrings right away and did not let go, and was pleasantly nice and sweet and charming. It was like a movie where part of me, because I've watched a lot of movies, I was constantly fearing things to turn bad, like real bad. Like a lesser movie could have taken any of these scenes and in this movie, taken out any of these scenes and replaced it with what happens in most movies, which is they go bad. And this movie doesn't do that. This movie handles everything so beautifully, so nicely, with so much respect, whether it's in the writing and the characters themselves, how the characters interact with people is so much of this movie. There are so many different, beautiful kind of relationships in this film. It explores love and the many manifestations of love in the different age ranges you could be in love. I think all of this combined formed a beautiful film that I absolutely loved. Got me choked up multiple times out of just pure happiness. It is a film that follows a dude who is fresh out of college and taking his first steps into understanding what it is to be an adult, what it is to be himself, understanding who he is, what he wants out of life, which, you know, as far as movie topics, it's not like a new trail that's been blazed in this movie, but I feel how this movie handles that, how it handles all of the relationships and all of the characters and how they grow and how they exist in this film. I think it handles it beautifully. Just so much heart. Like, I love a film that is able to flesh out characters that are, one, believable. It is amazing how many movies have characters and situations that are absolutely unbelievable, and you constantly have to, like, suspend reality in order to fall in line. Now, I'm not talking about, like, crazy movies like, you know, an action movie or, you know, like recently reviewed RRR. That one is over the top in every way. That's a whole different bag of marbles. That's a whole different kind of vibe going on. But as far as these like dramedies, these dramatic comedies, you know, it's a genre of film that really relies on the writer and the actor's ability to make the audience feel and buy into everything that's going on. Because if you have situations that just don't make sense, then it takes you out of the movie, right? You want to feel like you're watching something authentic. And when a movie's able to do that, it injects it with so much heart. And I appreciate a movie that has heart. And you don't need to necessarily be like a realistic, grounded take on something to have heart. There are a lot of lifeless movies in all genres, no matter how grounded or fantastical they are. But this movie is full of heart. Just all of the different relationships. So you have this 22-year-old, what's his character's name? It's played by Cooper Raiff. His name is Andrew. He starts off, he has this relationship from college. His college love is going to Spain. So he's kind of still wrapped in that. So it's one of the relationships is he's dealing with this like post-college relationship where two people are on separate paths. She's on her own life journey, and he is still tethered to her in a lot of ways. Still holding out hope that they are going to last, right? Like it's when you're first in love, you feel like that's it. Like you finally, like you don't need to look for love anywhere else because you found the love and it's going to last forever because it feels so good because you've never felt that before. And it's like, oh, this is going to be us forever. And he's slowly kind of realizing that not only is that not the case, but he's realizing and exploring the other types of relationships you can have. He's having like kind of a friends with benefits relationship. He met this older woman who is a mother of an autistic child, and there's a situation where she clearly is having emotions for him, and he's not necessarily. It's like the dynamics are all kind of crazy. He's also has, you know, a relationship with his brother, his younger brother, who's also in like this new love. He's excited about kissing his girlfriend for the first time, asking for his older brother's advice, which is a thing that you see in all kinds of movies, where it's the younger brother asking the older brother or wanting advice for the older brother when it comes to love, when it comes to being romantic with somebody else. And all of the other movies tend to take the path laid or similar path to that of American Pie. They're not all as raunchy as American Pie, but that tends to be the way movies handle these kinds of relationships, these kinds of things where the younger brother wants to ask the older brother for advice. And in this movie, like in all of the situations in this movie, Andrew, you know, does it with compassion. Like he's like earnestly trying to give his younger brother advice, despite the fact that Andrew himself is still very much a novice when it comes to relationships, when it comes to understanding relationships, understanding the complexities of relationships. So, which is, you know, part of his arc is him coming to the realization that he doesn't know. But the relationship is super sweet. There's the relationship with Andrew and his mom and his stepdad. His mom has potentially like bipolar disorder. This movie, in so many ways, like all these characters feel authentic and fleshed out because they have issues, but the issues aren't like the main focus. Like we understand that his mom had like a manic event, but it's not like the big focus of the movie. It's just a character trait of that character, and it's not handled as if it's like some emergency that needs to be taken care of. He has his relationship with his stepfather a little bit. They're butting heads. He doesn't really have they not really any mutual respect for each other. He kind of throws subtle jabs at his stepdad constantly. So that's beautiful. You have the relationship between the parents, where that comes out during one of these parties. So Andrew becomes a party starter because he's just like an extrovert. He's like an extrovert in a way, again, that movies don't necessarily portray male extroverts. Like a lot of dudes that are like high energy tend to be handled as like misogynists. And this guy's like a nice dude. He's like sweet to everybody around him. He's great with kids. He's great with parents. He may drink a little bit too much vodka on the job, but he is a guy that clearly adds energy to a situation. And during a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, I'm not clear on which one it was, at the point where he gets offered this job to be this party starter guy, like, it's clear that that's like a quote-unquote calling for him, even though he never really treats it as such. He treats it as most people who are in their early 20s treat any job, especially if it's a job that requires him to go to parties and have fun. Probably he's not treating it with the most respect, not really treating it like an actual job. He's kind of just treating it like he gets to go have fun and get paid for it, and doesn't realize that it takes, you have to treat it like a job if you want it to, if you want the benefits of it to come to fruition, you have to treat it like a job. You have to treat what you're doing with respect. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear The Many Faces, original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high-quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now, back to our show. So there's even, on that level, having love for what you do. But so much of this are the relationships. And then he has, this kind of long distance thing, which is not a relationship. She's doing her own thing in Spain. He's starting to hook up with an old college classmate. But meanwhile, he meets Domino, played by Dakota Johnson. He meets Domino at this party where he kind of shows everybody that he can be the life of the party. And also a sweet guy. Like, he meets Domino, who has this daughter who's autistic, and they make a bet that he can get her daughter to go on the dance floor and dance. And she bets him $300, and he goes over effortlessly, gets her to go and dance. And from that moment, you can see that Domino is kind of like intrigued by this guy. Like, it likes this guy. And events happen where she's like, things happen with her, and he's there to help her out. And it starts off like the dynamic is that he's just like this young dude trying to help out this slightly older lady. She's not that much older. She had her daughter Lola when she was young, she said. And ever since then, she's been tied up with her daughter because of her daughter's autism. And in some way, she's using him on one level to be kind of self-sabotaging herself. She's also engaged. So on part of it, she's having like cold feet. And so from her perspective, she's using Andrew as this like new thing to play with in some ways, who's really nice and really sweet. And then he is like still in that young mindset of, holy shit, like this could be the one. Like, he's all about soulmates. There's this great back and forth he has with Domino about soulmates. And so with love, with him, it's like so much. It's so much. He doesn't understand the different subtleties in the different types of love necessarily. He hasn't experienced it. He's still young. He's still inexperienced. But the sexy eyes that Domino gives him, like, there are scenes where he takes her home to make sure she's okay, and they have conversations, and it's just like the way she looks at him is like, just me sitting alone watching this movie, seeing how she's looking at him, made me feel like nervous in a way as if she's looking at me, right? Like I can feel in some ways what Andrew is feeling because she's definitely looking at him like she is like almost like a female predator in some ways. Not like violent or malicious in any way, but like she is into him. Despite the fact that like she's engaged to be married to this lawyer dude. But even the lawyer dude is kind of a jerk, kind of standoffish, but like ultimately, like all of these characters, they all end up being so like put together in some way. They end up being so like thoughtful about how they act and react to situations that it's like almost refreshing, because you don't really see characters, or characters just aren't written in such a thoughtful way. Like you just like just like handling things more sincerely, with more care. It's beautiful. So Andrew, because he's a nice guy and because Domino's kind of into him, she asks if he would be willing to watch her daughter, you know, at the times where she needs somebody to watch her, either, you know, her husband's coming into town or whatever. So he's like a male babysitter, which is something you never see again. And when you do, it is not good. Like, men tend to be predators in movies. And it's like, this movie could have taken a turn like that. This movie could have taken the turn where the husband, like, reacts violently. This movie could have taken a turn where, you know, there could have been an unwanted pregnancy somewhere. Right? This movie could have taken a lot of turns that a lot of movies that do similar things do, which are like lazy ways to add drama, where this movie handles everything so with such respect that just the level of performance from the characters and the fact that they're able to communicate with each other and just the complexities of the situations that are going on add all the drama you need. Like, you don't need to add in all these like things that most movies would to like ramp up the drama. Like, you think, like, in some ways you can compare this movie to American Beauty, right? There's like, but American Beauty does all of those things where it adds in, like, American Beauty almost adds in all of the crazy things that a movie would add in to add drama, right? I mean, you have the inappropriate age difference crush, you have the creepiness, the creepy neighbor, you have the violent neighbor, you have people who like react in ways where people die. Like, American Beauty handles it in all of the ways that this movie doesn't. And I appreciate this movie for that. Because even while I was watching, I was like, oh no, this is where the movie turns and it becomes really sad for like no reason, and it's like, oh my God, why are they doing this to me? But it never does that. It handles everything with such like beauty. Like, even when Andrew is watching Lola, right? He treats Lola with the utmost respect, you know, just and like care and compassion and thoughtfulness. Like, he is super extrovert and she is an introvert, right? Whether it's due to her condition or whatever, just like introverts enjoy being alone. They enjoy their alone time. And it's so rare that you see an extrovert even stop to comprehend that other people may not be able to process their energy. And there's a scene where he's watching her while the mom is out, while the parents are out. and they're playing these games, and he like stops and he's like, is this what you want to do? Is this like too much for you? And she's like, yeah, actually, I'd like to be alone for a while. And in him letting her just be alone, do what she wants to do, have her alone time, to be silent alone in her room, she then is willing to extend trust to him to, like, be one of the few people that helps her go to sleep, right, by rubbing her back. And it's like this beautiful scene where it's like he is thoughtful in a way to respect the person she is, and because of that thoughtfulness and respect, she gains trust for him in order to do this thing that she only really allows her mom to do. And it's like, what movie does that? There's no movies that, I mean, there probably are. But it's like that is the whole MO of this movie, is to have situations like that. Like when Domino comes on to Andrew early, right? She's giving, like, we don't know that she's engaged, or maybe we do. Actually, we might. I think we find out right when they get to her. But they're at her house. He takes her home. She has like a medical thing at a party. And they're having this conversation or whatever, and she's like giving him like these eyes that are like, I'm telling you, like, it is so difficult to watch this movie and not fall in love with Dakota Johnson. Like, I'm telling you, if you could find somebody to look at you like that, then you found them. Hopefully they're not married or engaged. Right, but Dakota Johnson has that ability with her eyes to just peel you like a fucking banana. I don't even know what that means, but I'm just saying, like, you are a marionette, and she can make the strings, and there's nothing you can do, at least in my opinion. And she's giving him these eyes. And it's like, you think it's going to go this way. And this is like one of the few things that this movie does where it's like they do actually go there. It's like she looks like she wants to fuck the shit out of this dude, to put it extremely bluntly. Right? She wants him. It looks like she wants him so bad, but not in like just with her eyes. And she just out of nowhere gets on top of him and starts to kiss him, and he pushes her away. And it's like this thing where it's handled in a way that the movies don't. Like, even though she did go in for the kiss, she did go in and kiss him, like, he handled it with respect. He's like, whoa, this is like maybe not the situation. But also, that was, I think, the moment where he started falling for her, if he hadn't already, and started thinking like, oh, maybe this is the one, right? Because when you're stupid and you're young, you're like, this is always the one. Like, oh, she's paying me attention. Like, I like her, she likes me, then that's it. You don't need anything else. Relationships are easy. You just have to find somebody that likes you for a moment, and then it's happiness. You ride off into the sunset. But this movie, like a bad movie, would have been, they do more, and there would be a lot of regret and a lot of, like, you know, pain from that. But they don't do that, right? Everything's handled with such respect. I love it. I love it. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. There's the scene where, you know, he's doing all these parties. For some reason, the one thing in this movie that doesn't really make a lot of sense is the fact that Andrew's doing, he's a party starter. He's doing all these like kids parties and all these bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. And for some reason, Domino and Lola show up to all of them. Or even Domino, Lola, and Joseph, the fiance. Like, they're always showing up to them, which I don't understand why you would show up to people's parties you don't know. I mean, I understand being social, but even being social, unless they happen to know all of these people, I don't know. Maybe that's common. Maybe that's very common in, like, Jewish communities. And I don't even know if Domino's character was Jewish or not. But that was one thing that was weird. It's like, why do they keep showing up to all of these parties? And I know, like, if you have kids, there's, like, always, you know, birthday parties and things like that. But, like, it doesn't seem like Lola would be invited to them, because it seems like most kids just don't like her because she's different, because she's older than them. But they keep showing up. And there's a situation where, like, a fight breaks out. And even in that fight, like, on the ride home, you see, and Andrew sees for the first time, the love his stepdad, because his parents were there as well, his family was there. He sees the love his stepdad has for his mom. And it's that turning point with his perception of his stepdad. Like, all of these relationships have, like, these little turning points where people, like, learn a little bit more about the person, and instead of flying off the handles, it just allows them to understand them in a different way, and allows them to just accept them for who they are. And it's like, it's beautiful. It's like, just this small thing is so beautiful, no matter how subtle. Even the scene where Andrew goes to, like, profess his love to Domino after that fight scene, right? And then the husband shows up, right? Because he was still at the party. He left late, so he was eventually going to show up. And in most other movies, that scene would have ended in a fight, or a gun would have been used. Like, I was so worried in that moment, right? Because Andrew is doing this thing where it's like, he already knows that Domino isn't into him like that. Like, they had already had the conversation that she is going to marry Joseph, and, you know, she was just kind of, in some ways, self-sabotaging. She was in some ways had cold feet. Andrew gave her this whole spiel about soulmates, and at the time didn't feel like Joseph was her soulmate because he didn't feel like she actually loved him. But in retrospect, we find out that she was actually talking about Andrew. But he felt the need to let her know, right? Which you can relate to that feeling of, like, you left things unsaid. You need to be clear and make sure they know how you feel about them. So at least you know one way or the other where it's going. And it's that scene where you go and you profess your love or whatever. And the husband shows up. And in that moment, I'm like, oh no, right? Because so many movies I know where this goes. I've watched movies when the husband shows up who has already acted like he is onto Andrew, onto what's going on between Andrew and his wife or his fiance, not happy about it. Like, we kind of understand the fiance's perception of the situation. And we've seen movies, so we know where this usually goes in movies. But in this movie, like in so many other situations, Andrew, like, is honest when he gets approached by the husband when he's trying to leave. I'm just a stupid kid. And Joseph, it treats the situation with compassion. He's like, I know, are you okay? Because he's probably had conversations with his wife, with his fiance, that involve Andrew. Actually, we know they've had conversations. We don't hear them, but we know they have. But Joseph is treating it like an adult, treating it with compassion, understanding that, yes, Andrew is just a young kid. And that he doesn't know the complexities, the different types of love, it's new to him. And his perception of what's happening isn't real. Or isn't what he thinks. And he treats him with, and it's like so beautiful. And Andrew's drunk. And what happens in most movies? He drives away in most movies. Oh, he gets in a car accident. Not in this movie. He's crying. He's drunk. He pulls over into a gas station and calls his mom to pick him up because he knows he's drunk. Like, this movie does all of the right things, which on paper would make you think, oh, that's not going to be a good movie. That's not going to be an entertaining movie. Like, why didn't the husband fight him? Why didn't you have drama in that? That's what people do in movies. It's like, no, this is how people who are well-adjusted should handle life. And it's like refreshing to see that. It is so refreshing to see people with like a level of like maturity. Like Andrew, definitely like on the cusp of maturity, like definitely doing things that are immature, not taking his job seriously, drinking on the job, not understanding, like falling in love with this person that's already in another relationship, and it's like not understanding that he was kind of this emotional vacation in some ways. It's refreshing. So I appreciate it. Are there any aspects of this that I forgot? Yeah. It's a great movie. I highly recommend people checking it out if you haven't. Apple TV Plus, exclusive. Would not be surprised if this got nominated for awards because it's so good quality. I mean, the directing is great. The performances are all great. Specifically, Cooper Raiff is like I don't know. Like, it's just, I enjoy watching him. I enjoy watching his characters ride, his characters kind of first steps into understanding adulthood. You know, it shows him, working at a corn dog stand and then kind of doing this party thing, but not really taking it seriously and trying to understand what he actually wants to do with his life now that he's out of school, out of college. coming of age in a lot of ways, first steps into adulthood. The goodbye that he has with Domino is beautiful in the school. Like, I mean, so much emotion when he's like, I'm going to go after their goodbye or whatever. She gives him a card, and he's like, I'm going to go wait for my brother in the carpool lane, right? Because I don't want Lola to see me. I don't want that to be a weird thing. And when he just sees Lola walking to the car, like, I was crying. I was like, oh. It's like, it's over. And he, like, loves that family. He loves Lola. He loves Domino. I'm sure he has a lot of love for Joseph. Joseph being so understanding and so respectful. And ultimately, like, a nice guy. And it's like, a big part of this movie is that the characters say is, and it applies to not only Andrew and that family, but also Andrew and his ex that is in Barcelona, to, like, hold on to the good memories. Like, the memories aren't going anywhere. To cherish those memories, which I think is such a good, like, message of this movie, to cherish the good memories. Like, so many people want to hold on to things that are done because they feel like they need to keep making good memories with that person, despite the fact that it has run its course, that relationship has run its course. And what you should do is just cherish those memories and just hold on to those and be thankful that you were able to create those good memories. So beautiful. And when he sees Lola, go to his mom's car, it's like, oh, we're never going to see each other again. And even, like, how it wraps up where he's like, I'm making good money now. I'm going to move out of my parents' house. And he's saying goodbye to his brother. And his brother's like, going to miss him. He has this great goodbye where he tells his mom that he loves and appreciates all that she's done. It is, like super emotional, and, like, shows that this character has grown throughout this movie, right? Has really understood in a new way the complexities of life and love and relationships, and all the different kinds of relationships, not just the romantic ones, not just the sexual ones, but the friendships and the family and all of it. And it's a beautiful movie, and I highly recommend checking it out. So do so. Cha-cha, real smooth. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.